It's funny how the internet works. It just takes one clip of someone not understanding how something is done to have a whole different perspective on something, and then all of a sudden it just leads to this avalanche of crap coming down. You had a situation where Trevon Diggs and Semi Fehoko were in a drill, and if you understand how the one-on-one drill works, the wide receiver is designed to win these types of situations, and yet people were taking it like Diggs was getting burned. Now, I'm not trying to sit here and say Trevon Diggs is like perfect or anything like that, but to say he's a bum is absolutely ridiculous. Today we'll be talking about that entire fiasco and why I think it's stupid for anybody to criticize Trevon Diggs at this point with how things have gone during camp. But before we dive into that, what's going on, guys? It's Space Cowboy here. Welcome back to the channel with another video for you guys here today. And with that, if you can leave a like on this video, that'd be greatly appreciated. It takes less than a second to do. Makes a massive difference. Subscribe if you're a part of that 65 percentile that just happens to keep coming around and not subscribe. I think that you might want to if you keep coming back. And also, hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on content like this. Now, this entire situation with Trevon Diggs getting burned by Semi Fehoko on a drill that's designed for wide receivers to win is absolutely ridiculous. On top of that, we're talking about practice. If we want to be like that, there have been Eagles content creators talking hella crap about the entire drill, and I can easily be like, well, Hurts looks like complete dog shit because of how bad he's been throwing the football in some of these clips. That's disingenuous, obviously, and I'm not insinuating that he's been playing bad, okay? However, to take one clip out of context, or rather, not really understanding the entire situation of what's going on in the camp, is ridiculous. So, again, to all those Eagles content creators out there that want to clown what happened, especially on Twitter, and you know if you've seen what happened on Twitter, again, don't be a dipshit. If you're probably smarter than that and understand how things are going and how these clips, if we as fans, as Cowboys fans, talk shit, you get all defensive. So don't be doing that shit. Anyways, with that being said, there were even Cowboys fans complaining about how Diggs looked like trash and this, that, and a third. Listen, there have been no indications that Trevon Diggs was having a bad camp. There has been nothing that was stating that. There have been moments where he had an altercation with Al Harris and how, he was using his technique, but that's normal. Listen, he's not a perfect DB, but he is very damn good. Listen, you have a guy that gathered 11 interceptions, the first time that's been done in over 40 plus goddamn years, and last done by a Dallas Cowboy. And all of a sudden, you have this mass entourage of stats, yaks, racks, crap, how Simon says, my boy always likes to point it out like that, of just, oh, he gave up so much, who gives a flying fuck about how much yardage you've given up? That is such a, oh my god, it's such a unnecessary stat because of how out of context that stuff has been. You can go look at plays where the safety is not paying attention or does something, blows the assignment, and assigns that yardage to the DB. You have guys that, okay, they're running, a crossing route or a slant, and then, oh, you're going to assign all the yardage because they happen to take that short route, and then they just run all around the field. Get the hell out of here. It's just, it doesn't make any goddamn sense. And so, I always tell people, no one gives a shit about the yardage. The yardage is more so this nonsense that it got brought up because Diggs was getting so many goddamn interceptions, people wanted to find a way to critique it. If Trevon Diggs was on the Bills, if he was on the Vikings, if he was on a team like the Packers or Patriots, he would be getting praised for getting that many goddamn interceptions. And it's just, when you put that star on your helmet, you get judged so goddamn much. You literally need to be like a Micah Parsons type of talent to where you can't get criticized unless you're comparing him to guys that are all-time greats and you're just saying, oh, he only did one season. You see what I mean? It's a never-ending moving goalpost. It doesn't matter. If Trevon Diggs goes out and let's say he has 5 or 6 interceptions, right? Are people going to bitch and complain about how he didn't get 11 interceptions? If that's the case, then, and if it's that easy, why isn't that Anybody else got 11 plus interceptions? I know Champ Bailey was one of those close guys there. He got 10, I believe, in one season in Denver. But it's just like, it's so dumb how people do not understand how things go about this. And then when you talk about how these drills work, it's one-on-one. It's a lot different for receivers when you have multiple DBs in the secondary and they're trying to get open. You know, you think that that's how it's going to be all goddamn game? Oh, well, Diggs has been getting burned all this, that, and a third. You know, even if he's getting burned, which honestly, there's only been a handful of times that's happened, or even on, like, oh, I could count as many on my finger. Really, the only times I've seen him getting burned was the clip with Kadarius Toney, the one clip, and the two situations where, in the Saints game, you had the guy run all the way around the field and score a touchdown. And then you had the game where, in the Patriots game, where Damontae Kazee missed an assignment, so Diggs wasn't trying to gather the interception, and it's a blown coverage. So, there are many people that are putting that out of context. And then you have Trevon Diggs doing all these other great things, intercepting. I mean, you can't be doing that shit. That's just so disingenuous. But again, I think Trevon Diggs is fine. Again, there has not been any indications that he is having a bad camp. There's no indications that Trevon Diggs was doing terrible in camp. He only had one damn clip and one instance where he was talking about how he was supposed to guard receivers with one of the coaches, and this is a problem. Like, come on, guys. Like, we're better than this. And this also ties into the overreactions to training camp. I just don't, like, when I have these conversations about what's going on in training camp, like Dak throwing dimes, Lyle Collins, Terrence Steele struggling, all this type of stuff. It's one thing if it's like, it's a consistent theme. Like, for example, Terrence Steele was struggling and then the pads went on and he's been just fine. And then you have Dak doing A-okay. There was there was a practice here and there where he didn't look good. But it's like one out of however many, right? It's not like a consistent, like, if we want to be a smart ass, going back to those Eagles fans that want to talk shit, I can be like, well, Hurts has not been reported to have good camps, and footage shows that he hasn't been looking good, so therefore he's having a bad camp. And of course I don't believe that. Again, it's one thing if it's like, okay, it's consistently like the guy's playing like dog shit, but again, we're not in a live game setting, and I would extend that. Like, we can talk about how good these receivers are looking in Dallas, right? But until you get into a live game setting, that doesn't mean anything. Like, you know how you see these one-on-one drills with CeeDee Lamb, Cedric Wilson, Jalen Tolbert, all these guys? It's one thing when they're doing that, but if they're doing it in a real game setting, that's even better. So if, like, we go into a real game setting and it's one game, I'm not going to overreact. If it's, like, several games and we're having issues, that's when the full-on conversation comes into play. So that's why I want to be clear. Moving forward, if you're a Cowboys fan, stop overreacting to the training camps, especially one clip. You know, like, I always say, like, and when it comes to me, right, I'm very pessimistic. I hate the front office, and you know that, and I know, like, I say it a bunch of times, but I gotta be real here and say, listen, just because what they do is one thing, but I'm not gonna sit here and be a smart ass and jackass and be like, oh, everything's going terrible at training camp, because that's not even true. So why are we having this discussion on, like, we've had this discussion all offseason. Are we going to bitch and complain if Trevon Diggs get another 10-plus interception season? I don't think so. People were complaining about him being all-pro. I mean, was there anybody else that got 11-plus interceptions? Get the hell out of here. You know, like, if you want to get on the corners for losing on game, on that, like, there were plenty of instances in all of the training camps throughout the NFL where wide receivers are notoriously winning one-on-one battles and making these all-pro corners or good corners looking like crap. Because you're not accounting for safeties, you're not accounting for other DBs back there, you're not accounting for any of that. So stop it, people. Anyways, that wraps up today's video. Wanted to get that off my chest. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Didn't take, if it didn't take too much to get a like out of you, make sure to leave a like. Also, subscribe if you're new and hit that notification bell. You're a real MVP for reaching the end of this video. Thank you so much for that. If you missed the last video, click on the little square icon in the middle and you'll get that. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a good one, guys. Goodbye.